Okay, I was setting a proper motivation with 3 points: refuge field, what to visualize, how to visualize, and the Bodhicitta field, again, how to visualize and what to visualize. The what to visualize, how to visualize. First, the refuge field. Let us visualize the Bodhisattva, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings in space in front of us, are so loving, caring, and embracing. And Bodhicitta field, visualize your two grandparents and all your family members, including children, and all female sentient beings around you. And here you are like a mother, and all others are like your children. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the seed of perfection within us, therefore it's a Buddha nature, where the awakening of this seed of perfection, the seed of Buddha nature, will take you to a state of fearlessness and to a state of infinite happiness. And how to remove this mental defilements? For this, we need to know what remedies to apply. And for the remedies, to know the remedies, we need to know the nature of the mental defilements. The nature of the mental defilements, we see that there are two. One which is very gross, like the solid garlic, and the other that's like the smell of the garlic, like mental defilements. The first one, the gross one, is referred to as the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which attracts all the miseries and the fears, thereby stopping us from experiencing total fearlessness, technically referred to as nirvana. And a subtle one, like the smell of the garlic, like mental defilements, the presence of which stops us from experiencing infinite happiness, technically referred to as Buddhahood. And how to get rid of these mental defilements? Knowing the nature of the mental defilements, that they all revolve around the ignorance, more precisely, self-grasping ignorance, supplemented by self-centered attitude. Their remedy lies in the wisdom of emptiness. And this wisdom of emptiness must be supported by the power of the altruistic Bodhicitta, which in turn must rest on the aspiration of the renunciation. So with this in mind, that we are learning here how to cultivate renunciation, Bodhicitta, and wisdom of emptiness, you inspire, you imagine that you are leading this recitation, inspiring all the demons to join you, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas there watching us. With your mind, and let's turn to page 3. And to your great compassion, you taught them immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha with Dharma, I pay homage. And to your great compassion, you taught them immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha with Dharma, I pay homage. And to your great compassion, you taught them immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha with Dharma, I pay homage. no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is freedom of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearing, seeking pacification, complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths, courses, those helping migrants to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subdue us expand the varieties of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by ultimate benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to your administrations. The one who has eliminated the web of civilizations and is endowed with that one bodies of the vast and the profound. To attend nations for the forever noble light raised to you, the Buddha, administrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I gender the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma to prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite, such as the nectar like Dharma I have discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching in silence I'll return to the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Its object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom, to you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the obeisance. Forces of Buddha's teachings, all composite things impermanent, all contaminated things are nature of suffering, all phenomena their nature emptiness, selflessness, transcending sorrows, peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings from miseries. I beseech you to kindly diminish give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual values do not transport them. Is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the will. Okay, till verse 30, till verse 34 and 33. Now 33 is where we need to study more detail. The main verses are very easy. They are not difficult. We can just finish very quickly. Okay. So what we are doing is the study of the ultimate reality of the ontology. Page 101. Study of the ontology. What constitutes ultimate reality? This is what we're learning. And anybody, why are we studying this topic? Why? Anyone presents? What's the benefit of studying this? Anyone, quick. Anyone? Cornelia.
To remove our obscurations, both afflictive and cognitive obscurations.
To remove our mental the obscurations, afflictive obscurations, the cognitive obscurations. Anyone else? Anyone else? Just pick a mind. Yes, the girl over there. What's your name? Sarah.
To be free of all sufferings.
To be free of all sufferings. That's it. Yes, in fact, this is the point. To be freed of all sufferings. Suffering is terrible. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. And to have the maximum happiness, right? To have the maximum happiness, and how to do that? To be free of all to be free of all miseries, we need to get rid of the cause of the miseries. And the cause of miseries, what we learned is afflictive obscurations, as Cornelia said. And to have the maximum happiness, we need to embrace the cause of the happiness. So for that, I say the infinite happiness, for which we need to get rid of the cognitive obscurations. We need to get rid of the cognitive obscurations so that the maximum happiness is attained. Okay, so one time, if you encounter with somebody like this, what would be your impression? If I met somebody and you tell me, what do you do? Once I was with a professor and his wife. We were having a lunch together in their house. And we were also having it's a very casual talk. And both of them are exceptionally kind towards animals, like stray dogs. And they were actually helping so many stray dogs, keeping the stray dogs. They're feeding the stray dogs in huge number. But the lady, the wife, was expressing some concern about, concern about the dogs and what after when she is not there. Then I said that but remember they said reincarnation is there. We will come back. We have to pray for this. And what she said? She said, "Oh, I'll not come back to samsara again." She said. I said, "Okay." And she said, "No, I'll not come back to samsara. I'm fed up with samsara." Okay. How easy is that? Not to come back to samsara, right? Simply because I'm fed up with samsara. Then next life, okay, you want to go to samsara or samsara? There's no choice, right? If you take a poison, if you take a cyanide, right? It's not that shall I die or not die. There's no choice. There's no choice. So it's not. So if you don't want samsara, what should you do? Anyone? What should you do if you don't want samsara? Listen, quick, to save time. We don't. Yes.
Remove the causes of samsara.
Remove the causes of samsara. You're getting it? Well, what is cause of samsara? Quick, somebody. Yes, Putu. Yes, anyone? Quick, to save time. Putu. Yes. Yes, over there.
To remove self-grasping ignorance.
To remove self-grasping ignorance. To remove the self-grasping ignorance. How many? What's your name? Roger. Roger or?
Roger.
Roger. Okay, how many agree with Roger? Raise hands. If you don't want samsara, then get the root cause of samsara. That is the self-grasping ignorance. Get rid of that. Raise hands. Good. Okay. How to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance? Anyone? Putu?
By realizing wisdom of emptiness.
By experiencing emptiness. Yeah. By cultivating, by generating the wisdom to see the emptiness. Wisdom realizing emptiness. Good. Okay. So what is this wisdom realizing emptiness? This next question. This is so important. Let's not take for granted. And then you will realize that that the study of these texts is so precious. Then to go for more extensive studies on what constitutes emptiness. is very important for us. Okay, so from this, what we learned is that the wisdom of emptiness. Emptiness means what? Emptiness of independent existence, or emptiness of objective existence. This is what we've learned. And so we see that all people, somehow we see that people can be grouped into three the classes, or three groups, three camps. One who reject dependent origination, and who also reject the emptiness of objective existence. Second group who accept dependent origination but reject emptiness of objective existence. And the third who accepts dependent origination and also accept emptiness of objective existence. Okay, let's not forget this. These three groups are there. And those of us who were absent the last few days, you may got a little lost here, but I cannot really go into detail once more to revise back. But if you're already exposed to the early class, meaning your own exposure to the Buddhist philosophy before, then it's not going to be a problem for you. Okay. So from this, what we learned is that those people who reject dependent origination, as well as who reject emptiness of objective existence, for them, when we say that this flower is the object of discussion, it is empty of objective existence because it is dependent originated, they will say that no, it is not dependent originated because there's no dependent origination. They reject the dependent origination. So they say that dependent origination is not established on the flower. In other words, the flower is not established as dependent originated. Okay, this one. If you're really, really, really new to this concept, you make that little loss here. But I would say that don't give up, particularly young ones, very, very young ones, who if you feel that you are coming here for the first time, second time, third time, if you get lost, keep in mind that, okay, so others could follow it so well, which means that I also have to study more, in which case then I can follow this. And then you will really feel the benefit of this teaching. Okay. Whereas those in second camp who accept dependent origination but reject the emptiness of objective existence will say that this flower is empty of objective existence because it's dependent originated. They say no, it's contradictory. What is dependent originated should not be empty of objective existence, should be objectively existent. Okay, so these two are contradictory. Dependent origination and emptiness of objective existence, these two are contradictory. Okay, this is their position. So, whereas Prasangikas, those who understand the true intention of the Buddha, for them, emptiness and dependent origination, these two mean the same, right? But we said A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C. We already learned that emptiness equals dependent origination equals the middle way, therefore emptiness equals the middle way. It's not nihilism. Okay, so this is the basic, the background information that we need to have. So with this, we continue reading from where we left yesterday. What I have is on page 101 and verse 16. Is it? Okay, that is 16 is done. Then we were and 17. So what we said 16. Okay, if we continue with this 16, let's do it again. Because the intrinsic nature cannot be negated. If things do exist intrinsically, so what are the synonyms? Intrinsic existence, inherent existence, objective existence, independent existence, inherent existence, true existence, they all mean the same. These are the synonyms. So with this, because if things do exist intrinsically, things do exist independently or objectively, then because intrinsic existence cannot be negated, if things do exist intrinsically, you cannot negate intrinsic reality. If that is the case, then what's the problem? Then intrinsic existence and dependent existence, these two mean the same. So therefore things should exist. Then no. intrinsic existence and independent existence should be the same. So therefore, things should exist as independently. If things exist independently, then nothing can change them. Nothing can change them. So we, essentially, the samsaric beings who are in samsara, who have so much of problems, afflictions, afflictive obscurations, and the miseries. So these miseries should become intrinsic or become independent. If they become independent, nothing can change them. If nothing can change them, then you cannot attain nirvana. You cannot attain freedom from your miseries. So nirvana would become impossible, and elaborations could not be ceased. Elaboration, there are three kinds. What are they? Elaboration in the context of self-grasping ignorance, in the context of conventional truth, objective existence. Good. So when we experience emptiness directly, okay, for attaining Buddhahood, that is a different story. So before we attain Buddhahood, so when we experience deep experience and non-dual experience of emptiness, there what happens is that in that experience of the direct experience of emptiness, self-grasping ignorance dissolve. Elaboration in the form of self-grasping ignorance dissolve. And the experience of so this mind, seeing emptiness directly, what is that? Is that conventional analysis, ultimate analysis? Hey, seeing emptiness directly, is it conventional analysis or ultimate analysis? Ultimate analysis. Okay. And so for this, and those of us who are missing the last few days, of course you'll get a little lost there, but you have to go back to the recordings. Okay. So in that experience, given that this mind, which is directly this ultimate analysis, so it cannot see the conventional truth. So conventional truth ceases in the experience of the direct reality of emptiness. You agree? So elaboration in the form of conventional truth also ceases. And because you see emptiness directly, objective existence does not appear to your mind. Objective existence also dissolves in the experience of the ultimate reality. All the three levels of the three kinds of the elaboration, the cease in their experience. Okay, but if things do exist intrinsically, if things do exist independently or objectively, then these three elaborations cannot be stopped. Okay, elaborations could not be ceased, you taught. Therefore, who could challenge you? Who? You who proclaim with lion's roar. So the Buddha, when the Buddha taught the emptiness, that's tremendous, of course. What the Buddha was teaching is from his direct experience. So therefore, it is like lion's roar, fearless roar. Roar meaning that what he teaches, there's no sense of, let's say, lack of conviction or sense of fear. It is truly fearless and very confident. In the assembly of learned ones repeatedly, and that everything is utterly free of intrinsic nature. So when the Buddha taught nothing exists intrinsically, nothing is objectively, nobody can challenge the Buddha, given that this is his own experiential realization, and nobody can challenge it. So therefore his teachings, they have become fearless. 18. That there's no intrinsic existence at all, and that all phenomena functions as this arising, and depends on that. What need is there to say that these two converge without conflict? So what are the two things here mentioned? That there's no intrinsic existence, meaning there's no objective existence on the one hand. Then on the other hand, that the functions, all functions, functionality of the world, this arising as this arising in dependence on that, or this arises in dependence on that. So dependent origination on the one hand, and the emptiness of objective existence on the other hand, these two, there's no contradiction there. So who does not see the contradiction? Those who understood the ultimate purport, or the purported the philosophy of the Buddha, the ultimate philosophy of the Buddha. Okay, it depends on that. What need is there to say that these two converge without conflict? These two experiences, emptiness of objective existence and independent origination, or the functionality, is to converge rather than conflicting. 19. It is through the reason of dependent origination that one doesn't lean towards an extreme. So what we said is A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C, which means emptiness is not nihilism, it is dependent origination. One, and dependent origination is the middle way. Therefore, emptiness is the middle way. Okay, 19. It is through the reason of dependent origination that one does not lean towards an extreme, meaning that with dependent origination, then dependent origination means the middle way. It's not the extreme. It's not the say avoiding two extremes is forming the middle way. It's middle way, therefore it does not lean towards the extreme. That you have declared this excellently is a reason, O Savior, of your being an honest self speaker. So to see that there's no contradiction between your teaching on the dependent origination and emptiness, there's no contradiction there, and dependent origination is seen as the middle way, there's no contradiction that this makes the Buddha the honest self speaker. 20. All of this is devoid of essence. Devoid of essence is devoid of independent existence, independent essence. All of this, all phenomena are devoid of independent existence or objective existence. But this is one statement. Second statement, from this arises that effect. That is what? Dependent origination. The first one is emptiness, the second one is dependent origination. These two certainties, these two, the realizations or the certainties complement each other with no contradiction at all, rather than seeing these two as dichotomous. These two are complementary to each other. That emptiness on one hand, and then on the other hand, from this arises that, meaning dependent origination. These two don't contradict, they complement each other. 21. What is more amazing than this? What is more marvelous than this? If one praises you in this manner, it is real praise, otherwise not. So from this, the lesson that we should take, the message that we take is that, okay, so this is, look, this is how the Buddha Shakyamuni was praised, and said that anything else, any other praise is not a praise. The real praise says what Buddha Shakyamuni had taught dependent origination. Why? Because understanding dependent origination and the complementarity of the dependent origination and emptiness. So these two, understanding of these two alone has the capacity to take us to the state of fearlessness, nirvana, and Buddhahood. And all what we're seeking is the nirvana and Buddhahood. And so this alone has the capacity to take that to take us to that realization. If that was the case, the message, take away message that, okay, so in my life, I have to understand emptiness, dependent origination. This is what for the Buddha appeared on this earth. That is the main thing, the universal wish. For him, having taught this, this is the reason why the great teachers like Origination, Lama, Tsongkhapa praised the Buddha Shakyamuni. So with this awareness, we should get the conviction that in my life, I have to, this is what, if I get it, then I have the extracted meaning of my life. So therefore, let us not be swayed by, some people, okay, just the single point of meditation, this will take you to enlightenment. No. As long as any meditation does not have anything to do with the dependent origination and emptiness, this is not the liberating power. For example, even Bodhicitta is not the liberating power. Let's not forget it. But it doesn't mean that the Bodhicitta is to be discarded. For example, like say that when we are thirsty, we need water to drink. We need tea, coffee, but we need a container. We need a container. Without a container, how would it have the coffee? So all the other factors are required, but let's not forget that the key is the water to drink, the water to be the water for you to drink, or the tea to drink, or the coffee to drink, not the container. Don't be engrossed with the container too much. Container is important, but that is not the key. The key is the liquid that you want to drink. Okay, so likewise, I say the key is the wisdom of emptiness. This wisdom of emptiness, then the more you see the benefit of the wisdom of emptiness, then the more you see the benefit of bodhicitta. With this bodhicitta, then this wisdom of emptiness has the capacity to get rid of to burn all your mental departments, not only the afflictive, but also the cognitive obscurations. So this is the takeaway for us, each one of us. Is okay, if this is what for the Buddha Shakyamuni praised, then I should make sure that in this life I must understand dependent origination. I must understand emptiness in the light of dependent origination to avoid two extremes. This is extremely important thing that we need to think of. And there were some people, in fact, there was one gentleman who attended many of the first classes on emptiness. And suddenly he disappeared. And one day he showed up after maybe about 1 year, 2 years, and then he said that he just showed up, and then they just came for a teaching. Then at the end he came to see me. I said, Geshe, I could not attend the teaching the last 2 years. I said, it's fine, it's not a problem. And then I told him that as long as you can do some practice on bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness, it's fine. Then he said that actually nowadays I can't do meditation emptiness because I'm doing some other practice. Another practice which another teacher taught me. Then I felt, okay, this is how when one doesn't have the merit, there's a problem. Look at all these teachings. All the teachings. There, it does not say that any other teaching is, for the Buddha having taught the other teachings, that this is the greatest source of the praise to be made to the Buddha Shakyamuni. Rather, for the Buddha having taught dependent origination. And yet the person's deviated to something else. It's very, very unfortunate. So therefore, the wisdom of emptiness is not that easy. For us to even to hear this requires a tremendous merit. So we do need to say the work on accumulated merit, so that that we encounter with the teaching of emptiness, and that we don't deviate. Once you have met with the teaching of emptiness, that we don't deviate from this teaching. This is so precious. Okay. Now 21, it says, what is more amazing than this? What is more marvelous than this? If one praises you in this manner, it is real praise, otherwise not. Okay. Nagarjuna, in his text, in praise of Bodhicitta Vivarana, in praise of Bodhicitta, the Buddha, Nagarjuna praised the Buddha Shakyamuni, saying that the Chunam Tomba Dishin, saying that having seen the emptiness of all objects, having seen the emptiness of the objective existence of all phenomena, and yet conform to the law of cause and effect, this is an amazement of all amazement, and this is a wonder of all wonders. So look, listening to these, we should be wise. And these are taught by not just ordinary people like us, some extremely enlightened being, Nagarjuna, revered as the second Buddha for the minor practitioners. So he said it, and from this, we should get a message that, okay, I should be smart. So now I can see what is for example, somebody markets gold, somebody markets silver, somebody markets copper, somebody markets diamond, right? So from there, you should be able to pick up the diamond and not the copper and the brass. You getting it? Likewise, Nagarjuna is saying that this is the amazement of all the amazements, and this is the wonder of all the wonders. And it said is, so this is where Nagarjuna identified the diamond. So let us not be engrossed with the copper and the brass. You getting it? This is so important. Okay, 22. Okay, now 22 is related to people who reject dependent origination, and also who reject the emptiness of objective existence, who reject both. So what's the problem with them? 22. Being enslaved by ignorance, which means that seeing things as objectively real, and seeing things as not dependently originated. You getting it? Okay, being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you. So who will oppose the Buddha? Those who do not accept dependent origination, those who do not accept emptiness and dependent origination, the combination, and not the contemporary, the opponents of the Buddha, the contemporary teachers who were contemporary with the Buddha Shakyamuni. There were many of those teachers who were, out of jealousy, came to compete with the Buddha Shakyamuni. It happened so many times. So those being enslaved, yes, of course, we can blame them because they cannot see dependent origination, they cannot see emptiness. If they don't see that, and still they have a sense of, say, some degree of eloquence, some scholarship, then they're bound to, feel Buddha as the being competitive of the Buddha. So it's being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you. What is so astonishing about their being unable to bear the sound of no intrinsic existence, meaning those who reject dependent origination as well as reject emptiness of objective existence, which means those who do not accept Buddha's teaching at all. For them, when the Buddha said there's no intrinsic existence, there's no objective existence, everything's like a dream, they will no doubt oppose the Buddha Shakyamuni. So this Lama Tsongkhapa is saying that I'm not really surprised by them, because they don't accept Buddha's teaching, so they will oppose the Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings, and there's nothing to be astonished. But Lama Tsongkhapa is saying that, but I am really astonished to see somebody who accepts dependent origination and yet reject emptiness of objective existence. These are the people who I really feel astonished about. Why? 23. But having accepted dependent origination, the precious treasure of your speech, the Buddha's speech, the precious treasure, dependent. Why it is treasure? Because this connects us to the understanding of emptiness. They're not tolerating the roar of emptiness. Where the Buddha, in the second tenet of Dharma, the Buddha taught the emptiness, that there's nothing existing objectively, intrinsically. So, those people who accept dependent origination and reject emptiness, this I find amazing indeed. Because the core of the Buddha's message is emptiness. Because understanding emptiness alone is the liberating path. We follow the Buddha, expecting the Buddha to teach us the path to liberate us. What is that path? Emptiness. Emptiness, wisdom of emptiness. So, 23, but having accepted dependent origination and the precious treasure of your speech, and at the same time, they're not tolerating the raw emptiness, which means that they cannot bear with the concept of emptiness of objective existence, they cannot accept it. This I find amazing indeed. Why? 24. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence. What is that door? Okay, they say there's a door, and the other side, here there's a fire going, the blaze, where the blaze, travel the blaze, and there's a door there. You get out of this door, you are free from the fire. So you're freed from the fire is the wisdom of emptiness. And this door is the door of dependent origination. So this door of dependent origination is the only door, is a door that takes you to the emptiness. So you accept the door, but don't go into the emptiness. 24. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence. What is that door? This is the unexcelled door of dependent origination. Through its name alone, if one grasps that intrinsic existence, through its name alone, meaning that you accept dependent origination. The door which is supposed to take you to emptiness concept. You accept dependent origination, and because of this, you accept dependent. Since things are dependent origination, therefore things should exist objectively. This is what you are just trapped in the opposite way. Actually, because things are dependent originated, therefore they're empty of objective existence, empty of independent existence. You understanding? Yes? Let me see this again. Say, people who, they say the Prasangya, highest Buddhist school and the low Buddhist schools. Low Buddhist schools who accept dependent origination but reject the emptiness of objective existence. Now, if you ask them, okay, are things dependent originated, particularly composite phenomena, impermanent phenomena, are they dependent originated? They will say yes. Are they empty objective existence? There is no way. What is dependent originated should be objectively existent. This is what the lower schools will say. So, the unfortunate thing. Okay. 24. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence. No intrinsic existence is emptiness of objective existence. This unexcelled door of dependent origination, through its name alone, you meaning those people, the low schools, low Buddhist schools, they accept dependent origination, and by just saying dependent origination, the label dependent origination, that should necessarily be objectively real. If one grasps that intrinsic existence. Now, this person who lacks the unrivaled entrance to wisdom of emptiness. So the unraveled the entrance to wisdom of emptiness is the understanding of dependent origination. They accept the entrance, but they don't go into the wisdom of emptiness. So now, how will you get there? How will you be liberated? You will never be liberated. Who lacks 25? Who lacks the unraveled entrance? Now, okay. So now what happens is that the Eric say that they accept the dependent origination, and then there should be the entrance to take you to emptiness. So for them, this is not the entrance. This is like the barricade. Dependent origination becomes the barricade for them. Accepting dependent origination stops them from accepting emptiness of objective existence. So who lacks unraveled entrance, well traveled by noble beings, all the Buddhists of the past, all the Buddhists of the present and the future, they all travel through this entrance. But for them, these are the barricade rather than entrance. Then if that is the case, then how can you take them to nirvana? How can you take these people to the experience of the emptiness? By what means should one guide him to the excellent path, the path of the wisdom of emptiness that pleases you? Because the most powerful reason to take you to this path, unaccepted path, is the wisdom of dependent origination. And they accept it, and this is now used to reject the emptiness of objective existence, reject the wisdom of emptiness. So now what other path is available? There's no path left to guide them to this unaccepted the path. 26. Intrinsic nature. So why they don't have to take the path if one accepts emptiness, the dependent origination as contradictory to the wisdom of emptiness. So what's the problem? 26. Intrinsic nature. The objective existence or intrinsic nature, when you say intrinsic nature or objective existence, it should be absolute reality, or independent existence. If it is independent existence, it should be uncreated. Independent, nothing can create it. Uncreated. And non-contingent, non-dependent. So this is one part. On the other hand, what is dependent origination? Dependent origination means which is contingent, which is dependent and created by causes, conditions, and so forth. How can these two converge? What is dependent origination and what is intrinsic existence? These two cannot converge. These two are contradictory. But they accept that all the Buddhist schools, except Prasangika, they accept that what is dependent originated and what is objective existence, they see them as non-contradictory, but in actuality, these are contradictory. Why? Dependent origination is created and intrinsic existence is uncreated. What is created and what is uncreated, these two should be dichotomous in nature. 27. Therefore, whatever originates dependently, though primarily free of intrinsic existence, appears as it does possess intrinsic nature. So you're taught all this to be illusion life. So now, If let's say that for you meaning the Prasangika, if you're the Prasangika, for you when you say that this object, the flower, is dependent originated, and same time you say that this empty of objective existence, but look at this, it appears object real. It is dependent originated, and also it appears object real. Yes, it is dependent originated. Yes, it appears object real. Yes, does it exist object real? No, it does not exist object real, but it appears object real. Therefore, it is illusion like. Therefore, the Buddha described all phenomena as the particularly say the what is seen by the conventional analysis, which is seen by conventional analysis, they're all described as illusion-like. Okay. 27. Therefore, whatever originates dependently, though primarily free of intrinsic existence, meaning that whatever originates dependently, whatever is dependently originated, they cannot have intrinsic nature, but it appears intrinsic nature means that they appear, if it does exist, it appears as though like they have intrinsic existence. So therefore, there's a contradiction between appearance and the reality. Appearance-wise, they appear as intrinsic real. Reality is the empty of intrinsic reality. Because there's a discrepancy between appearance and reality, things are described as illusion-like. So he taught all this to be illusion-like. 28. Through this very fact, I understand well the statement that in what you have taught, those opponents who challenge you cannot find faults that accord with reason. Say the opponents that the main opponent is those who reject dependent origination and also those who reject the emptiness of objective existence. So they cannot find any sound reason to reject you. 29. Why is this so? Why is this so? Because by declaring these chances, declaring these meaning that the things exist dependent originated, yet they are empty of intrinsic existence. By declaring this, these chances for reification and denigration. Reification is the extreme of absolutism. Reification, exaggeration. This is the extreme of absolutism. Reification. Reification means exaggerate what is non-existent as existent, what is empty of the intrinsic existent as intrinsically existent, and denigration is nihilism. So the chances for reification and denigration, the chances for the two extremes towards things seen and unseen are made most remote. Seen meaning which are visibly seen with the senses, and which are not visibly seen by your senses, and they are all related to these things. In other words, all phenomena are the two extremes related to all phenomena. They become remote, meaning that you distance yourself, you stay free from the two extremes related to all other phenomena. 13. Through this very path of dependent origination, the rationale for your speech being peerless, conviction arises in me also that your other words are valid too. So, seeing that the dependent origination and the emptiness through that self-dependent origination, you see the Lama Tsongkhapa gets a deep conviction in the very profound teaching of the Buddha, and with this, he became even more convinced with the many other teachings which the Buddha taught, seeing that this teacher, what this teacher taught is extremely profound, that this teacher teaches the ability to see the nuances, ability to see the very fine nuances is there. From this, many of the teachings, you can see that they are all valid. For example, they say to the interviews or to the exams, to the interviews, if you ask the interviewer, asks you let's say you are the interviewer, and you ask a very complicated question, extremely complicated question, and the person answers it very easily. Then you will not ask this simple question. Why? From this, you know that this person is very, very learned. There's no point in wasting time, right? You know that this person knows the other things. Okay. what happened was that once when I was translating for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Holiness was to give a teaching on the 400 verses by Bodhisattva Aditya, 400 verses. And being the translator, I think it was to be given in Switzerland or somewhere, and I need to look for the English book, English translation. And somehow I got, with help of somebody, I got the PDF, what's the word, not really as a book, but like a combination. I've got it, and I took for granted that it was translated. I just took this is what is my mistake, so that if I can see the same mistake happening in many people. So simply because there's a book on emptiness, over emptiness, people take it very seriously. It must be a great author. No, many of the books are really, really, really not helpful. It can be very harmful. Books on emptiness. Simply because a book doesn't mean that book on emptiness doesn't mean that authority, that the author is authority. It's very dangerous. Okay, and it was my mistake. And because of this, my experience, I'm sharing with other people that be very careful, particularly with emptiness. Don't trust simply because there's a book doesn't mean there is authority. Okay. So what happened was that I just took for granted, I'm so lucky that there's a translation that I don't really have to look for too long for the translation of this verses. And of course, for me to translate from the scratch is just impossible. No time. Then after a while, I just felt like, okay, I'd like to just glance through that. I feel comfortable that this translation is okay. I glanced through and there are so many mistakes in the translation. Translation mistakes are there. Then I said, okay, no, sorry, I cannot use this. I cannot use this. This can damage people more than the benefit. I just rejected it. And then I was looking for, okay, is there any other translation I was looking for? Then somebody suggested another translation by Ruth Sonam. And I was very apprehensive. Okay, now I should not trust. So what I did is that, and I do not have time to go through all the verses. So I just picked up one part which involves nuances there. I was just checking if the translator got this nuance understanding. And I just picked up that particular verse, and I was so amazed that she got it very precisely. I said, okay, now I'm going to go through the rest of the verses. This is the translation that I'm going to use. Okay, so what I'm saying is that Lama Tsongkhapa, when having realized the emptiness himself, see the congruency between the dependent origination and the absence of objective existence. When seeing that these two are there, that the congruency there, that these two are not contradictory there. Not only that, these two go in great compatibility with the two. So seeing that, then the Lama Tsongkhapa, seeing the other teachings of the Buddha, Lama Tsongkhapa felt so confident that, okay, with other things, what the Buddha taught is valid too. Okay. 30. Through this very path of dependent origination, the rationale of your speech being peerless, convictions arise in me also that your other words are valid too. 31. This is very profound. 31. You who speak excellently by seeing as it is, you, referring to the Buddha who speak excellently by seeing as it is, seeing things as it is, meaning that things are empty of objective existence as it is. For those who train in your footsteps, anybody who follows the footsteps of the Buddha, to see things as empty of objective existence, all the degenerations will become remote, meaning that all the mental agitations, fear, anxiety, afflictions will become remote, will disappear. You who speak excellent by seeing as it is, for those who train in your footsteps, in the footsteps of Buddha, all degenerations, all the faults, all the miseries will become removed, will be distanced. For the root of all faults will be undone, because the root of all these faults, all these degenerations, all these miseries is self-grasping ignorance. By seeing emptiness, the self-grasping ignorance will be distanced. When self-grasping ignorance is gone, self-grasping ignorance which is like the iceberg on which the more buildings are stacked on this iceberg. When the iceberg melts, all what is stacked on it collapses. All the faults, all the miseries will become removed. Okay, so we see that in our life. In our life, we see that there's so many problems, and so somebody. So just imagine somebody who is in his like 20s or 30s, going through so much a problem, generally speaking. And then if at that age, like 30, 40, 20, 30, you have so much a problem, then do you think the problem will become less or become more, generally speaking? Become more. Physically, you will become more and more incapable. And then you have to depend on more other people. And if people are there on whom to depend, that too you are very lucky. But if the moment you become dependent on others, others will also become frustrated. They will feel tired of being with you all the time, right? And then even if the person is so nice, so kind, but then what you want and what other person, the things you want, can be very different. And then, so look, this is a problem. And in many cases, that but you're also not Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You have also problem, complications are there. And because of the other person feels, the one who's nursing you feels that you have the complication, you feel complicated, the person also show anger towards you. So this is what happens. So seeing this, then the best thing is, okay, let's say if you have a nightmare, very scary dream, what is the best thing to do? Say prayers that the scary dream where the ghost is chasing you. Say the prayers that ghost stops. Or what is the better thing to do? Wake up, right? Don't wait to say mantra or manipulate when the ghost stops. Or show the cross and stop the ghost. If it's a Christian ghost, show the cross. It's a Buddhist ghost or manipulate, right? And to stop, right? It's a temporary solution. Even if it stops, it's a temporary solution, right? As long as the dream continues, again you relax, right? Okay, somebody's sick. This is like meeting with the ghost in the dream, and then you do recite mantra, do pujas, right? Do pujas, recite mantras, and then now my brother is becoming better, my father is becoming better, right? Better. Okay, now he's okay, she's okay. We are so lucky. We are so happy. How long will it last? Again, not sure. After a few days, after a few months, after a few years, again things can relapse. Yeah, yes. Yeah, this is the nature. This is the nature. Don't expect a permanent solution. One time there was a couple, and the lady's father, who was suffering from cancer, the last stage cancer, and the daughter-in-law asked her mother-in-law, which is the lady, to contact me to see some advice on the Tibetan medicine, so that I can connect them to the Tibetan doctor. And two of them came, and this poor daughter-in-law, she was attending Tibetan classes. She was very, very extremely genuine. And because of her, I took it very seriously. We met, and even this person who was with the suffering to the cancer, he was the mother-in-law's father, which means her father. And at least there's somebody where they can do, not do, it doesn't matter. If at least there's somebody, who is giving kind. And then I was suggesting a name of the doctor, and just imagine what she said. Very, very pessimistically, she said, "Can he really cure the cancer?" This is what she said. Then I was totally disillusioned. How does the poor girl, she was trying her best. It's not her grandfather. It was, say, the mother-in-law's father. And still she was, this with so much of care, love. And the daughter, actually, whose father was suffering, and she's very pessimistic. Do you think it can be cured? Then I said that, I'll tell you one thing. Even the best of the doctor in this world has to die. Nobody can cure anything permanently. Even the best of the doctor has to also die. Don't forget it. So I told her. This is reality. This is reality. But, say, look at the unnecessary tensions that we carry with us. Say, somebody's sick, one of your relatives is sick, and then you worry, he may die. Finally, becomes a little so, it's not so happy. And then again becomes sick. Again, so, say, if you are the person, then they say, my question to you is, okay, say with the medication, with the prayers, okay, this person is recovered, and then so now, how long should I prolong his life or her life? 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? If I will not live that 1,000 years, how can I expect that somebody who doesn't have the capacity to live for like 100 years can make somebody live another 1,000 years? It's impossible. You're getting it? And then how you worry is also like you have the capacity, the other person has capacity to make the other person live for 1,000 years. Even 1,000 years, you are also not, if you live another 1,000 years, you expect other person to live 2,000 years. So then, again, one day, 2,000 years will complete. Your tenure will complete. And again, you worry. So how long? When will this worry stop? Think of this. This is so unrealistic. So therefore, if you're really wise, that you are really unhappy with this, this constant to worry. If you really want to stop and end to the worry, what should you do? Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. So that worry will stop altogether. All these are the dramas. Yet, as long as you're in the dream, you have to follow the rule of the dream. If you don't want to follow the rule of the dream, the fear, misery, tension, so forth, wake up from sleep. This is the only way. There's no choice. There's no choice. Right? So there's no choice. I prefer this, I prefer that. No, there's no choice. You have to see emptiness. You have to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. There's no choice. This is the wise people's approach. There's no choice. If the misery, if this fear, tension, anxiety, worries, they bother you so much, and this is endless. And if you don't want to go through this anymore, wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Okay. So therefore, this becomes very important. Okay, now we will easily finish tomorrow. How many more days we have? Tomorrow. Okay. So we have another 5-6 minutes. Shall we finish this off? Okay. Okay, 31. You who speak excellent by seeing as it is. For those who train in your footsteps, all degenerations will become removed, for the root of all faults will be undone. 32. For those who turn away from your teachings, though they may struggle with hardship for a long time, this is very true. As long as you don't wake up from the sleep of ignorance, as long as you stay in the sleep of ignorance, the dream will dictate you, right? Okay. Okay, how many of you like to have the dream of having an audience with this audience at that level tonight? Raise hands. How many of you like to have this dream? Raise hands. Okay, if you didn't hear too well, let me repeat it. How many of you like to have the dream of having audience with this audience at Dalai Lama? Not only audience, this one says, hey, would you like to have a cup of tea with me? Right? Raise hands who would like to have this dream. Okay, now tell me. Who's going to have this dream tonight? Raise hands. Who is going to have this dream tonight? Who is going to have this dream tonight? Why not? It's a very pleasant dream. Why not? Why not? Raise hands. Yes, over there, the girl over there. Yes? The mic, the end. The girl at the end. Why not? It's very pleasant. It's a very nice dream. Why not? Like,
It's a little impossible.
okay, this is impossible. Is it impossible or why? It's possible. It can be possible. Not sure. Right? Not sure. So, dream, in other words, what's your name?
Patricia.
Patricia. So what, Patricia, are you saying that the dream is not in my hand? It's not in my hand.
Yeah, not within me.
It's not within me. The power is not within me. To control the dream, the power is not within me. Which means that you don't have the power to control the dream. The dream is not in your hand. You don't have the freedom to choose the dream. So, you don't have free. Let me repeat it. You don't have the freedom to choose the dream. Presents? Good. No freedom to choose the dream is known as lack of freedom. Yes? Presents. Lack of freedom is misery. You getting it? So, as long as you have the dream, you suffer the lack of freedom, which is a misery. You getting it? So if you don't want this misery, wake up from the sleep of ignorance that you don't have to become servant of the dream. You getting it? Okay. So it says that how to wake up? By seeing things as empty of objective reality. Okay. Where is the 32? But those who turn away from your teaching, though they may struggle with hardship for a long time in the dream, there's a goes there, let's recite mantra, right? However much struggle you make, the faults increase ever more as if being called for. They say at the moment you meet with one ghost, right? And next moment we never know, we may meet with 10 ghosts. It may increase. You're getting it? Dream. So faults increase evermore as if being called for they make firm the view of self. Because if you are not ready to wake up from the sleep of ignorance, you are stabilizing the sleep of ignorance. If you stabilize the sleep of ignorance, your miseries can increase, can multiply. 33. When the wise comprehend the difference between these two meaning, the one who follows the footsteps of Buddha and the one who doesn't follow the footsteps of Buddha, the one who follows the footsteps of Buddha, their degenerations, they will go away from their degenerations. Ones who do not follow the footsteps of Buddha, their degenerations increase. Seeing this difference between the two, why would they not at that point revere the Buddha from the depths of their being? Because by following you, your own degenerations remove. They stop. And that is your purpose. 34. Let alone your numerous teachings, even in the meaning of a small part, those who find ascertainment in a cursory way, Cultivate meaning in a very, say, the simplistic way. Even if somebody understands the Buddhist teachings in a very gross form, this brings supreme bliss to them as well. So again, the great author, Aranagarjuna's student, Bodhisattva Deva, what he said in his text, 40 verses, is that Sonam Chua Chudela Tezum Sami, Tezum Sami, Silva Rubi. In English, those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this teaching on emptiness. Should a doubt ever arise, it shatters your samsara into pieces. It should doubt, let alone the ascertainment of the emptiness. Even a doubt, what is this emptiness like? Even this inquiry comes to you, your samsara will be shattered into pieces. This is the benefit. Therefore, let alone your numerous teachings, even in the meaning of a small part, those who find ascertainment in a cursory form, cursory meaning in a gross form, and of a surface form, this brings supreme bliss to them as well. Alas, my mind was defeated by ignorance. So now, Lama Tsongkhapa, he's expressing his humility, saying that, alas, my mind was defeated by ignorance, though I have sought refuge for a long time in you, in such an embodiment of excellence, I possess not a fraction of this quality. I do not possess a fraction of the Buddha's qualities. Nonetheless, before the stream of this life flowing towards the death has come to cease, meaning that before my death comes, it's a very poetic way of saying it, before my death comes, that I found slight faith in you is an expression of humility, because Lama Tsongkhapa composed his text immediately after having realized emptiness. As I shared before, immediately after realizing emptiness, a clear experience of emptiness, and then he composed this text. So he said that now I've gained faith. So he expressed humility, saying that slight faith, meaning that I've at least grasped some meaning of what you said. In fact, even this I think is fortunate. Among teachers, the teacher of dependent origination, look, these are the great message for us to take away. In this life, we make sure that we leave such imprint in the mind that what is taught here is deeply ingrained in the mind, that in the future lifetimes we are not being swayed by people saying that, okay, this meditation good, that meditation good, emptiness, this is a waste of time, study, waste of time. If you meet with such people in the next lifetimes, you will not be swayed. You're getting it. This is so important. So by reading this, taught by somebody who realized emptiness, by Lama Tsongkhapa, revered all over Tibet, and read his text compositions, you will see that. Okay, so the more you read this, the more conviction that you gain in the future lifetimes. You will never be swayed by the other misguided misguided people. Among teachers, the teacher of dependent origination. Amongst wisdom, the knowledge of dependent origination. You were most excellent, you the Buddha, were most excellent like the kings in the world. Know this perfectly well, not others. So for us, wow, this is how the author Lama Tsongkhapa praised the Buddha Shakyamuni. He says, seeing him in the light of the metaphor of the king of the world. For having understood the emptiness, having taught emptiness. So if this is the case, then I must make a wise choice that in this life I'll leave such a strong imprint in the understanding of dependent origination, understanding of emptiness. 38. All that you have taught proceeds by way of dependent origination. That too is done for the sake of nirvana. And what he taught is all related to dependent origination and emptiness. And for what purpose? The purpose is for liberation from miseries, nirvana, liberation from miseries. You have no deeds that do not bring peace. 39. How amazing! Your teaching is such, in whosever's ears it falls, they all attain peace. So who would not be honored by what you teach? 40. It overcomes all opposing challenges. It is free from contradiction between earlier and the latter parts. It grants fulfillment of one's two aims. Two aims meaning the favorable birth within samsara, or the highest stage within samsara, and the ultimate goodness in terms of nirvana Buddhahood. The two aims for the system, my joy increases evermore. Okay, now how this principle Siddhartha, how did he succeed in acquiring this wisdom? For the sake of this understanding the wisdom of divine origination and emptiness, you, the Buddha, you have given away again and again over countless eons, sometimes your body and others your life, as well as your loving kin and resourceful wealth. Seeing the qualities of this teaching, pulls heart from your heart, just like what a hook does to a fish. Sad it is not to have heard it from you. I'm saying that this teaching is so profound that I just wish that I learned it from you, the Bodhisattva, directly, but it didn't happen to me. So it is sad it is not to have heard it from you directly. 43. The intensity of that sorrow does not let go of my mind, just like the mind of a mother constantly goes after her dear child. Here too, as I reflect on your words, I think, so now that Lama Tsongkhapa he realized emptiness, well, he was extremely, got such a profound reverence to the Buddha Shakyamuni that he was just like a small child who's been separated from the mother, constantly thinking about the mother. In fact, this was what I used to do when I was little. I lost my mother when I was 5. Most of you know that already. And particularly when I was, say, in the school, boarding school, my father was struggling with his own life. And then, say, in the nights, say, just a small child, he's 7, 8, 9, in the bed. There's other people, other children, so at least when they're at home, they're with their mother, sitting with the mother. And this little boy was, he's and crying, think about what my mother would be like. Okay, so Lama Tsongkhapa, he's reflecting thus of the like how the child thinks of the mother, reflecting about the Buddha. Here too, as I reflect on your words with the dual emptiness, divine origination, I think how I imagine you is like blazing with the glory of noble minds and hallowed in the most light ways. This teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni, in a voice of pristine melody, spoke thus in such a way. Instant such a reflection of the sage's form, the Buddha's form, appears in my mind. It soothes me, just as the moonbeams heal the fever's pain. This excellent system, most marvelous. Some individuals who are not so learned have entangled it in utter confusion, just like they entangled the basic rice. Before the Lama Tsongkhapa came to Tibet, there was all these confusions were there. What is emptiness? All just confusion. Emptiness means nothingness, so forth. So they were just entangled like basic rice. Seeing this situation, I strove with a multitude of efforts to follow after the learned ones and sought your intention again and again. At such times as I studied the numerous works of both our own middle way and other schools, my mind became tormented even more. So studying Ram, I'm talking about sense that he could not find any one particular teacher there who can really make things so clear for us, and he constantly by network of downs. Okay, then finally, having met with the Nagarjuna's teaching, Acharya Chandrakirti's teachings, Nagarjuna's teachings giving the metaphor of the grove, beautiful garden, and Acharya Chandrakirti's teaching giving the metaphor of the moonlight. In the night, although there's a beautiful garden, you can enjoy the garden because you don't see the garden in the night. But with the light of Acharya Chandrakirti, the light of the Acharya Chandrakirti, then you can enjoy this garden with extremely pleasant, soothing feeling. So, Nagarjuna's garden is what? That's the Mula Madhya Karika, the fundamental wisdom of the middle of the text. Fundamental wisdom of the middle, which is so deep, compact, dense, and extremely profound, and you cannot see that. So, what makes us see that is the light, the moonlight of Acharya Chandrakirti's text, Madhyamagarbha, entry into the middle of Acharya Chandrakirti. So 49. The 9 daily growth, that is the metaphor for Mula Madhyakarika, fundamental wisdom, the middle way, by Nagarjuna. The 9 daily growth of Nagarjuna's traditions. 49. Nagarjuna, whom you prophesied, whom you the Buddha, the prophesied, would unravel your unaccepted vehicle, is the mind of the ego, as it is, shunning extremes of existence and non-existence. With extremes. So this very profound text of Nagarjuna was illuminated by the garden with the white light of Chandras. Chandra is Ashar Chandrakirti. Ashar Chandrakirti is well uttered insight. What is that? The well uttered insight at the entry into the middle way. The text entry in the middle way. We have to study this. Entry in the middle way is not very complicated, whereas Arya Nagarjuna's text is very subtle, and yet this can be unraveled by the understanding of what actually chanted in this text. We have to study this. Okay. The 15, illuminated by the garden white lights of Chandra's well-uttered insights. Chandra, whose taintless wisdom orb is full, who glides freely across scripture's space. But your Chandra's text is such that you understand this. This will make things so easy wherever you travel, whatever you read. 51. Who dispels the darkness of extremist hearts and outshines the constellations of false speakers. When through my teacher's kindness I sought this, my mind found rest at once. Which means that Lama Tsongkhapa finally realized emptiness. Okay. 52. Of all your deeds, your speech is supreme. Within that, okay, the Buddha's or the Buddha's deeds are the body, speech, and mind, the body performing miracles and so forth, speech, the wisdom in the speech, the teachings. Of all your deeds, your speech is supreme. Within that, within the speech, it is this very speech, the speech of dependence, the speech of emptiness. So the wise would remember the Buddha through this teaching of dependence. So here, these are the message. But for us, we should not be captivated, we should not be mesmerized by, the other, be deviated towards other small, okay, we have to practice. The real practices of wisdom practice and the Bodhicitta. 53. Following such a teacher and having become a renunciate, having studied the conqueror's words, conqueror here is the Buddha's words not reporting, this monk, Lama Tsongkhapa, who strives in the yogic practices, such is the depth of his reference to the great seer, the Buddha. Since it is due to my teacher's kindness, I've met with the teacher, the unaccepted teacher. Unaccepted teacher is Bodhicitta. I dedicate this virtue too as a cause for all beings to be sustained by sublime spiritual mind. This is precious, because we see that there are many people who are easily misguided by meeting with the wrong people, misguided, and then there's no option what to do. Okay, so meeting with the great Nalanda masters, the great masters, their teachings, the Buddha's teachings, the tenfold, but the Lama Tsongkhapa is praying that may, as all the beings be sustained by the sublime spiritual mentors. 55. May the teaching of this beneficial one, the Buddha, till the world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts, will always be met by inimitable beings who find conviction in the teacher, to understand the teaching's true nature. So look, this is the Guru devotion. See the teaching authentic, then you should gain conviction in the Guru, not the Guru authentic and then the teacher. You get it? You should put all both. This is the Guru devotion here. It says, may it always be 55. May the teaching of this beneficial one till world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always be met by inimitable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understand the teaching's true nature. Understand teaching so well, this should make you gain conviction in the teacher, not the other way around. Right? So you see the Guru, you go and then go into the teaching. No. First, study the teaching with the help of teachers. First, understand teaching well. Once you understand teaching well, then you decide your Guru. 56. May I never thought, even from, okay, what should I do if I finally just like to Guru, right? What should I do, right? Okay, what should I do? So there, this advice is that if you have not chosen the Guru, the way Lama Tsongkhapa taught here, that first gain conviction, the efficacy of the teaching, and then see choosing the right Guru. If this is not how you did, thus far, okay, so there's a way out. Thus far, it is not what we've done, but now still, for example, like Jizun the Mata, he has so many teachers. Some people they choose to have only one teacher. Some people they choose to have many teachers. So which means that the each one of us we never know. There's likelihood that we can meet with more teachers in the future. But in the future, take this precaution. Make sure that the next teachers to choose, make sure that your knowledge is good. This knowledge should drive you to pick up the good teacher. This is for the future. For the present, what should I do? And say that if the teacher constantly giving your own directions, or even in some cases abuse can happen. If this happens, keep distance. Keep distance. And the text says that if the teacher is giving wrong directions, this doesn't record with authentic sources, then the text says that you, out of respect, you make clarification to the teacher that teacher taught me this, but in the very authentic sources which I learned, these are the things which taught. So therefore, say, may I be able to follow what is taught in the authentic source. If you're very confident that what the teacher is saying is not correct and what is taught in the authentic sources, simply because what the teacher said and what other sources said, these two are different, we never know what is that other source. But authentic, not authentic, is sure. We should be very sure that authentic sources and very standard teachers and the authentic sources, they go in one direction, and the teacher, if the learner is not too good, you can be censored, then out of respect, you make clarification to the teacher that may I be able to follow according to what authentic text says. This is a little different from what I learned from you, with respect. And the point is that once you see somebody as a teacher, as a spiritual teacher, not just as a professor, So here, all these here, Tibet House, another master's course, another certificate course, another intermediate course, all these, I make it very clear that there's nothing to do with the guru or student relationship. It's all about my university professors or lecturers. There's nothing to do with the guru or student relationship. Whereas if you guru student relation, it's not the guru will decide, the students will decide. So the students, if you have decided that somebody is my teacher, and then some complications happen, then keep a little distance. Never ever have a sense of anger towards the teacher. Keep a little distance, that we are not affected badly later on, and that other people will also not be affected. We try to guide other people properly. Simply because that you disagree with the teacher, and then you fight with the teacher, and then because of you to fulfill your aspiration, you deliberately try to talk divisive words, you accumulate so much of negative karma. So, whereas if the teacher is wrong, really wrong, yes, it happens. When the teacher is really wrong, who you picked up as a teacher, but even if in your mind you do not pick a person A as your teacher, and the teacher said, "Yes, I'm your teacher," right? It's still the person doesn't make me a teacher. Don't worry, right? Oh, what should I do? I didn't take him as my teacher, and he said that yes, you are my student, right? So now I'm a student. Don't worry, right? Teacher students decide by the student, not by the teacher, right? But okay. So with this, once you have picked up, and then complications happen, keep a little distance. Don't ever lose respect. This is so important. Okay. But what's very important is to make sure that what is taught by Lama Tsongkhapa, this is the approach. Very possible that encourage others also. You're getting it? Don't make others to hunted gurus. You're getting it? Don't let others go into the guru cult. And always encourage others. Look, this is what Lama talking about time. So therefore, first learn the Dharma well, and if you may meet with hundreds of people who say that, who's your good guru? This is a clear indication that these people don't know the guru. You gotta get? So this will mean, who's your good guru? Without good guru, you cannot have Dharma practice. If you encounter with these people, just keep in mind, be very confident these people don't know the guru. You gotta get? So what you do is that you study the Dharma well, know the Dharma well, and then you decide. Once you Dharma is very big, say the full-fledged, your Dharma is so good, your understanding is so good of the overall picture of the Dharma is so good. Don't be too arrogant. Study for 2 days and then you said, I learn Dharma. He's my teacher, she's my teacher, right? Don't do that. Study Dharma at least for like 4, 5, 6 years. Well, and then while you do Dharma, if you still want to have the Guru devotion so far, Bodhicitta is your teacher. You getting it? Bodhicitta. Yes, of course. Same. What Acharya Dinaga said. Acharya Dinaga, he did not really meet with the Bodhicitta. Acharya Dinaga was 6th century AD. Bodhicitta was 6th century, the 5th century BC. Gap of 1,000 years. For Acharya Dinaga, in his word of salutation, Pramana Samuchaya, said, the one who is transformed into the reliable guide. Who is the reliable guide? Bodhisattva. Motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. A teacher, survivor, protector, the view of the frustration. So Acharya Dinaga, he took Bodhisattva as the teacher. So why not? Us. The great example given by such a great enlightened being. Why not? But then later on, once your knowledge is very good, you see that your knowledge is very comprehensive, you can get some understanding of the emptiness, and Bodhicitta, so you can feel some the transformation within your mind. You're very confident whatever teaching is given to you. And then from there, from your own study, reflection, and some degree of experience, you can see who's practicing, who's not practicing. You can see that. Even the teachers you can see. Even who claim as teachers. Who are actually practicing, who are actually not practicing, because it's so easily identified. On that basis, then you can pick up. Okay. Once you pick up, take it very seriously. It's not that the teacher will give up the student. It's not possible also. Right? Once you have picked up, you have to take it very seriously. Never ever have a sense of animosity, anger, and so forth. This is embrace this spirit. Okay. Now 56. Okay, 55 again. May the teaching of this beneficial one till world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always been up by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May it never fall to even for an instant uphold the excellent way of the excellent way meaning at the teaching of the Dharma Origination and the teaching of the wisdom of emptiness. Of the sage which illuminates the principle of Dharma Origination to all my birds, taking them away my body and life. But this is the core of the Buddhist teaching. Buddhist study. I spent day and night carefully reflecting on what means can enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior, the Buddha Shakyamuni, whose during his efforts for countless years. How can I hold this teaching of the Dharma teaching of emptiness and the teaching of Bodhicitta? As I strive in this with pure intention, may Brahma and the world's guardians and protectors such as Mahapala and serve me for this system. Okay, it's just so auspicious indication of the one or two means from the beginning, because of the communication by Lama Tsongkhapa, who speaks on the basis of saying this makes him lower, the teacher excelled, about to will conquer for the Origination. Whatever these persons there are in the world, with all these is ignorance, you're taught that it is the Origination, the seed which belongs to this ignorance. So how can an intelligent person not comprehend that this part of the Origination is the essential part of the teaching? Okay, good. Stop here. Okay, since we don't have time, we will do the quick direction prayer. Page 50, page 49, sorry. Page 49. I dedicate the merit of God's attention towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas for 3 times, unto the holding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. May I in all lives true to follow this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind of the ego, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, bodhi, and the 2 stages. From my true collections, vast space that I have amassed, from working with effort in this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief building Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Yata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata